It's another side that, like, wants to take more. It wants to go that one more round. Because, like, going that one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference in your life. You know what I mean?
Welcome to another episode of One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast. I am your host, Ryan, and of course with me is my wonderful, lovely co-host, Katie. How are you doing today?
Hola. Doing great. Another sunny day in Denver. It's always beautiful here. Like, we have so many sunny days. So
Oh, nice.
It's usually a bright sunny morning when we record. This week is, let's see, what's today going to be? High 50s? I don't know what that is in Celsius.
50s is like 8 to 10 degrees Celsius, I think. Quick math. So it's cool, like 6 to 8 degrees. It's a wonderful morning here. It's beautiful here. It's cool, but no snow and it's clear out. It's actually sunny out today as well. Yeah, we had a bear get into our garbage. I do have a lock. The funny thing is I have a lock for the shed. So to answer your question about the bear, I bought just like a latch where I can put, those carabiners, the hooks, so the bear can't squeeze and open it up. So I'm going to put a latch lock on there. I got a feeling if the bear is strong enough, it's just going to tear it off, but we'll see if that at least will deter it from just trying to get the garbage. And we actually keep most of the food garbage in our garage, so it's just kind of irritating that it still smells whatever it does smell. But yeah, let's talk about Tulsa King. You've watched the first 3 episodes as well, I presume?
I have, yes.
What do you think so far?
I like the continuation of this world building. We're meeting more and more people in his world. I particularly like his close-knit group of his driver Tyson and the pot shop owner Bodie, I think. And then those 3, I think, is a really interesting and dynamic trio that makes for an entertaining watch. I like the DEA agent, kind of like to see where this goes. I have a feeling it won't be, because I'm like, okay, so they're going to date and that's going to be a conflict or whatever. But I have a feeling they'll be wittier with it, or, they'll have a good play. It won't be just your typical. Although then there's the Dana Delaney character that is introduced, who I originally thought that she would be the ex-wife, because I knew she was going to be in it, but she's not. So she might be a new love interest. She owns the ranch. I'm a big fan of Dominic Lombardozzi. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct, but he plays Chicky. I'm sure you've seen him in tons of stuff. Like, he was in The Wire and
he's been in. I recognize him because he's wearing a wig in this show because he's bald in real life.
That's right. Yeah, he's been around a long time, and I like I like him in almost everything I see him in. And then I also like the other mob guy down there. He was in The Sopranos. He was the Doogie Howser. What was his name? Max Casella.
Right.
Max Casella.
Good job with the names. I know the faces you're talking about, but not the names. So you're happy with the cast?
Very happy with the cast. And we're seeing a side of Sly that we maybe haven't seen before. And he's doing it. He's doing the damn thing. And I love it. How about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, if you want to hear my thoughts, you can join our Patreon as I review and react to every episode. I've done the first 3. I'll be doing episode 4 today or Wednesday of this recording, depending on my time. But by Wednesday, I'll have it up on Patreon. I think only one person has joined because of it. But that's fine. Those who are Patreons already are watching it, it looks like.
I watched the first one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed your take.
Like I said, if people kind of like this show, maybe they only listen for you and Kyle. They don't want to listen to me. They tolerate me. But if you like my spin on Sly and his movies and TV shows now, check out Patreon. It's just for as low as $1 a month. You can listen to my full reaction to the Tulsa King, unedited, like I play the whole episode. So again, if you don't have a Paramount Plus account and you want to watch this, you don't mind my face above the show and talking throughout it. And I don't over talk too much. I just laugh, and it's like a watch party. And then I share my thoughts at the end, kind of what I felt about the episode. But overall, I'll just say, yes, I'm loving the series. It's great. It's basically, seems like this show was almost written for Sly. I know that's not necessarily the case, or maybe it was. I can't imagine they would create a whole series hoping Sly would sign on, because I don't know who else would have done this, because, well, we know Sly enough to know when he's in a production. I wonder how much of it is the writers came with this and then Slyifies it, because there's sequences where it's like, I think this is Stallone talking. You know, the Sly that we love. He does this little monologues. It's like, this is a Sly monologue. There's no way this part was written by the writer or the writer just knows Sly's voice, if that makes sense. There's a sequence in the limo. Remember when he's high in the limo in episode 3? Or 2, sorry. Was it 2 that he's high in the limo?
But that was a fun scene.
What a fun
Super
scene.
Fun scene.
Have you ever seen Sly High? I called it during my reaction. I called it the Sly High. And have you ever seen that? He was being silly and goofy, but he was like doing like expounded on life. Then when I was watching that, boy, Sly plays a great being high and being silly. And he was laughing, and then he was also expounding on life. Anyways, guys, I can't say enough. If you're not watching Tulsa King and you're listening to this podcast, that's weird. You got to watch Tulsa King, because it's
true.
It's written for Sly. It's everything that you want from him: action, drama, comedy, and it's just all done well. So it's like everything you've ever criticized Sly for in a movie, let's say. There's nothing. I don't know what you can criticize here regarding his acting and his presenting of this show. I don't know what you can criticize. I'd be hard pressed to say, "Oh, this sucks. His acting's terrible." No, it's.
I mean, I'm sure people will find something wrong with it, but you said something that reminded me, or like brought up a thought about what's kind of brilliant is that the show is able to bring up topics in a safe way, like edgy topics in a safe way, in that, like that scene in the car when he's high and he's like, "Can I ask you what's with this generation, or what's with the world today?" You know, like, sure. You can't say this, like, what's going on? And the reason that it's fine is because, I mean, he has been out of bounds for 25 years, plus he's older. Mm-hmm. So it's okay coming from him. Like, he's just inquiring that he finds this odd. Mm-hmm. But anyone else, like any other character, really couldn't get away with, you know, somebody would find fault in him asking those questions. He really doesn't get it because he's been in prison for 25 years, plus he's 75.
It's a show written in 2022. However, we're dealing with a guy who is in the show and in real life during the filming of the show, 75 at the time. This is what a 75-year-old mafioso guy would probably, and I'm guarantee you a lot of the mafia guys even today are probably quote unquote old school conservative when it regarding gender, wokeism. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how many woke mafia members do you think there are? Like, it's probably not very many. Yeah, he's old school, and he's old school from the mafia background, which is very old school. To be like, that's the whole point of mafia. So they're the old world type personality. Yeah, and they're able to address that without quote unquote making fun of it, but also letting viewers, like, maybe not people like me per se, but my age group and older, where we still might be struggling with all this stuff too. It's also a way of us all kind of chuckling about it together.
Yeah. But then he's really progressive in his, we love it because he sticks up for his driver. He was discriminated against.
Yes, discrimination.
There was the banker thought that they perhaps were a gay couple, or Tyson, the driver, brought that up, and Sly, it was no big thing. He was just like, "Oh yeah, probably," but whatever, so it's both at the same time, which I think kind of endears him to us.
Absolutely agree. We failed to mention Kyle's not here today because he's got a younger family than me, so I know what it's like. Like, his kids are much younger than mine. Like, my youngest are twins, and they're 8.5 now, so there's no real family emergencies anymore. Like, my kids are hungry, go make your own food now. They're at that age. But unfortunately, Kyle's kids are much younger, and his wife is down. She's down for the count. So Kyle is playing Mr. Mom right now and letting his wife sleep, which is wonderful of him to do. But because of that, he couldn't be here today. He said carry on with the show, and I don't like doing it without one of you guys, but yeah. If we don't record today, there won't be an episode when people are hearing this episode, if that makes sense, at the time that they're expecting to hear this episode. So, and lastly, speaking of Patreon, one of my faithful patrons, Louis, and he's actually Luis, and he's in the chat right now in our Discord. He's one of our big faithful supporters of the show and Patreon. He actually suggested something I used to do back in the day, in the early days of Patreon when he was there too. He liked it when I basically uploaded this raw video, this Discord chat video, onto Discord. Nothing edited, not the YouTube edit. Because he said that he liked the jokes and he likes the things that maybe I cut out that don't make the iTunes edit. So he goes, why don't you go back to doing the raw uncut version stuff goes on Patreon, and then of course the YouTube stuff. They will be early releases because I don't have to do any editing. It's just, here it is. Here's the recording that you missed on Discord essentially. And the jokes and things that don't land or land in a good way but aren't quite appropriate, you can go to our now that Kyle's not here, it doesn't really matter. He's usually the guy I have to censor. And in fact, I missed one of his F-bombs on my last episode. Sorry, Mom. It slipped through. I was listening to the final edit. Like, oops, I missed the F-bomb drop. So all that being said, so join Patreon for as low as $1 a month, and you'll get really early releases now, but it's going to be the raw, unedited version of the show. I think it's a great idea, Louis, so thank you for that. Okay. No emails. Sorry, Katie, no emails. Nobody's emailing us anymore. I don't know what's going on.
I think they got sick of mine not being able to read. I get them cold, and so then, sometimes the punctuation is... I'm like, what are they trying to say?
I'm surprised we ever gotten any. Email is still kind of a old school, even it's communication. A lot of people just social media messages. So I will say we have been getting messages on our YouTube channel and on Twitter or on our Facebook page. So I want to say thank you to those who do that. Keep it up because it plugs our show when you do that. So that's actually a very easy way to support the show. Liking the YouTube video or liking my posts on Facebook, on the Facebook page, because it's free. You don't have to say anything. You just give it a thumbs up or like. It actually just promotes the show for your friends and family on your own socials. They'll see it. I'd ask you to do that at very least. That's free to do. I do want to say that Simon, he did write on our YouTube page, and I want to do this from memory. He said that it wasn't him that called me out on something. I said somebody called me out on, for the song, not knowing the title. We thought it was him, or I said it was him.
Going the distance. Yeah,
going the distance. So it wasn't Simon. You want to make that clear. Sorry, Simon. I dragged his name through the mud, and I apologize. So it wasn't him. So sorry, Simon. And speaking of which, we got to watch that movie that he wrote and directed. I want to watch that. We should do that one day and review it on as a bonus episode.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We should.
All right. So people are just talking in our chat. Here's from Louis. He actually said this. He goes, "Don't think Sly is going to be the issue with the show. It's going to be the logical/rational screenwriting. There have already been scenes that don't make sense for some of the characters' motivations. Hopefully these things aren't ignored going forward." Yeah, it's not a perfect show as far as the show goes, but yes, Sly, it's a perfect Sly vehicle, or his performance is spot on. Like, he's flawless in the show. Some of the scenarios around are a little bit, don't always work. However, I think things will settle down and get, I won't say better, because it already is an excellent show, but I think it will get tighter as the series goes on, and it has been renewed for a second season, so I think we can expect that kind of stuff. It's always like any show at the beginning, it's always characters are being figured out, and the writers are figuring out the actors, and you'll see that as the show moves forward, I think it'll be, if it makes it to like season 3 or 4, I think you'll see a very tight show. Okay. Well, that's it for news and updates that I can think of. Are you ready to roll into the next scenes here? Okay.
Ready to go.
Rocky's all healed up. He's been released from the hospital. He's leaving the hospital with Adrian and a couple of people going to offer him a job or something. Let's listen to this.
This coming year, Rocky, how you feel? You all right?
Yeah, I feel great being outside.
This coming year, you're going to make $300,000 with this.
Yeah?
This fiscal year.
Hey, Rocky!
This guy's talking to Rocky right away. Rocky says, hey, it feels great to be outside. So we could assume, I guess the whole time he's in the hospital, he didn't have any outside time.
Well, how long do you think he was in the hospital?
Maybe only a couple days.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, too.
He did have that bandage on his face, the previous scene where he's covered pretty heavily with the bandage. He had eye surgery. So maybe 2 nights, 3 days, bed rest. And now he's going outside with Adrian. She's wearing her, trivia.
Well, but Kyle's not here.
Kyle's not here. Yeah, we don't have a guest host to play for him. Okay, that's fine. What we'll do is we'll just do maybe 10 questions next week. Because I just remembered seeing the red jacket. That was a trivia question. My brain went trivia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he says you're going to make $300,000 with us this fiscal year. $300,000 is a lot of money today.
It's like $1.5 million in today's money. I'm just timesing everything by 5.
That's about right. So $1 to $1.5 million. That's that can change your life. That can help you a lot. Like $1 million isn't quote unquote what it used to be, but still, if someone were to give me $1 million right now, that'd be very helpful to the family. It would help you very much so. Rocky's feeling good. He's got this money being laid out to him. It's a hot product right now for commercials, even though he's officially retired. And this guy comes up in a wheelchair, broken leg, broken arm, bandage around his head, broken. I love how he has a cast around his neck. Is that what they would do? Would they put a cast around your neck like that?
He's in like a full body cast. So whatever happened to this poor dude?
Do you recognize the actor?
Remember you guys talking about it? I don't. Who is it?
I forget his name. A better podcaster would know the name. I forget his name. It's one of those names where if I see the name, I will, oh yeah, that's the name. But he was in ER for many seasons. He was like that Dr. Coltrane or something like that. Anyways.
The bald guy?
Yeah. Remember
Really?
his character got his arm chopped off in the helicopter in the ER?
No, I don't remember.
That's what happened to his
I
character.
was pretty young when I was on. I watched it, but wasn't it on in like the early 90s, mid to early 90s?
It ran
Or
90, like 4 or 5 until 2008 or something like that. It was like 12
Okay,
or 14
well-
seasons or something. 12 seasons, I think.
I must not have been a regular watcher of it then. I kind of can picture some of the characters, but I don't know the storylines.
Okay, I was a huge
So-
ER fan. In fact, I'm rewatching it on Amazon Prime. I really like it. It's great writing.
Does it hold up?
The stories and the character developments do. Like, it's very smart writing. It's amazing how good the writing is. Speaking of Tulsa King and these cable network shows like Yellowstone, maybe that's high-end writing. But then when you watch a show like ER, that was good writing back then. We were spoiled back then not knowing what we had on network television. Compared to some of the network television shows today are just horrible. They're lazy. You know, like CSI Miami, CSI this, and NCIS Hawaii. It's just like, ugh. Where
Yeah,
ER
for sure.
truly was a serialized drama. Like, they'd have overarching storylines with, of course, the medical event of the episode. And great actors like George Clooney and Julia Margulies, who went on to The Good Wife, and she's wonderful. But anyways, this guy was in it, and he was a really cranky doctor. So he's probably 18 here or something.
Hey, Rocky, how you feel? You all right?
Yeah, I feel great being outside.
This coming year, you're going to make $300,000 with this.
Yeah?
This fiscal year.
Hey, how you doing, Pete?
Hey, could you sign my head?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Hope it don't go to your brain.
Can he sign my head? It looks like he's got some signatures already on his cast. Harvey, Bill. I wonder if that's Bill Conti. But I love how there's already a few signatures on him. You remember back in the day signing people's casts? Remember the kid would come to school with a
Yes,
broken
yeah.
arm? It was like a rite of passage, and you were so proud of yourself to have yourself signed up. So he signs the felt marker on his head, and he goes, I hope this doesn't go to your brain. I guess to indicate the ink might seep into his brain and give him brain poisoning. Is that what you get from that?
I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. It's just kind of one of those like sly things, Rocky things. All right, okay.
And he called him Pete, so that would indicate they knew each other from their hospital stay together. I love how Rocky hasn't been outside yet, and he only had a messed up eye, but Pete's been outside.
Pete lives there for quite some time with that full body cast.
Where do you go pee and poo? Do they have like a hole in the cast?
Oh God, oh wow. These are things that I have not thought about, don't want to think about.
Door, like a little latch, they open it up.
I do not know, Ryan.
Could you be a nurse? Could you wipe other adults' feces?
No, I am not a big fan of humans, generally speaking. So anything in the care field, no, I could never be a nurse. I couldn't even be like a server. I'm not like nice enough. I can't just like be flirty with people for no reason. You know, I'm just like, that's not me.
Let's role play.
Anything away
Let's
from
role
people.
play. I've got my food. I've sat down with my family, eating my food. You're my server, and you want to see how I'm enjoying the meal so far. You know when the servers come after a minute or two after you start eating. So let's try it. So I'm eating my food, and you want to ask me how the meal is doing. Let's see how you'll sound.
Hi, Rebalkin family. How's everything tasting?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Do you mind if I get another fill up on my soda, please?
Sure. What was that? Diet Coke or Coke?
It was diet.
Okay, I'll be right back.
That's not
That's
bad.
the extent. I'm already exhausted. I'm already exhausted. I don't like it.
She's quit. She's quit after her first table. Oh man.
Like I can't fake nice. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. I can't. So Carefield's not for me. A lot of women say they want to marry doctors. I have always said, no, that's gross. They touch people all the time. I don't want a doctor. It's gross.
Yeah, I'm actually the same way. I couldn't work in the medical field. I would rather do open heart surgery than be a dentist. Looking at people's mouths and their cavities and their fungus on their teeth, I'd rather look inside your chest cavity than your mouth.
Either way is pretty gross, but yeah.
All right. Rocky hopes that the permanent marker ink does not get to his brain.
That's heavy.
A little bit.
Yeah, well, just think how fast you'll be when you get it off.
Just a minute. Can I
Thanks
borrow
a
this? Let me use your head for a minute, kid.
No.
It's time, Rocky. It's a
Wait,
standard deal.
I want to talk to you.
So I love how this guy is looking for a hard surface for Rocky to sign. So Rocky has signed somebody's cast on his head, and this guy is trying to get Rocky to sign a contract for commercials. He won't sign the contract, but he autographs someone's head. So is Rocky playing dumb a little bit because he's not sure about signing this? We know later in the film that he does do the commercials.
Well, I think it's inappropriate for these people to, like, he just got out of the hospital. If it were me, I'd be like, ask me to a meeting at your office and we can discuss this. Like, just happening, rolling up on me when I just think it's inappropriate the way that they're doing it. And he is sort of, yeah, this is not the time or the place, but also he doesn't really know.
That's fair. I like that. I think maybe a little bit of both. Like, I think Rocky sometimes uses his punchiness to deflect either an uncomfortable situation or... So this may be a situation where he's like, yeah, this all sounds good, but he's feeling a little bit of pressure. He might want to have his lawyer from part 5 to look over this matter. And so he's not ready to just sign anything yet. So maybe there is a scene that exists in the universe that we don't see on film that a lawyer looks it over, because he does do the commercials. So right now he doesn't feel comfortable signing without having somebody look over it.
Why are they just showing up? I could see them showing up and be like, hey, who do we get in contact about this? I don't know. Was this a thing? Basically to try and take advantage of him because he doesn't know better?
Donald does bring up a good point. He says here that Rocky's instinct is he's being street hustled.
Good point, Donald.
Yeah. Well, Donald's the smart one. He's the smart one. I always say maybe he should do his podcast. He's always got sound comments.
Yes.
A little bit about this here.
It's a standard deal.
You just been talking about shaving stuff and
That's
things
all
like
you can do.
that?
Sledgehammers, whatever, batteries.
There are all kinds of cars. I mean, all kinds of
Like
commercials.
balls and
It could be anything.
baseballs.
Yeah, you're going to make $300,000. You've got to strike now while we're not even talking. 20 minutes, it's all over.
Yeah, people kind of forget.
Time is now if you
Right
want to make
now.
$1. Here, sign it here.
Well,
Takes you 2 seconds to
I'll
sign.
tell you what,
it's a standard deal.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll sign it, but I got to go somewhere now.
Where you going? What could be more important than
I
this?
just gotta do some things, but I'll be back. I'll talk to you.
Will you give me a call? Man. You want to call? I'll call you. You got a number?
No, I just call you. I'll go, hey, yo!
Okay. All right, you call. Here. Guy's got brain damage.
Guy's got brain damage. There's another brain damage again.
Hey, I'll call your brother. I love that that's how his way of calling is just, hey, yo.
Hey,
What you doing?
So I think Donald's right. I think there's a little bit of Rocky nose. I don't want to rush into this. It does sound good. Again, he does do it. It sounds good. He makes a lot of money. He wants to take care of Adrian. Money is, I would say it's not important to Rocky. He's not stupid. He recognizes money can get me out of this neighborhood. I don't want to be a bum anymore. So he wants to get out of the neighborhood. But of course, right now he's got bigger things on his mind. I love some of the products he might, shaving. He did mention the shaving, but he goes, yeah, there'll be other things like sledgehammers, batteries. Batteries, yeah.
Oh, it's later when it's the thing that Tough Doll. Wasn't there an actual doll like that in the 80s?
I believe there actually is one, but I'm 90% sure there is a Rocky punching doll for sure.
Not a Rocky doll, but like a Stretch Armstrong type. Like it was like a man.
Oh.
You could kind of... Do you know what I mean?
There
Does
was
anybody...
those, but there was ones, they're full of air, and they had a weighted bottom, and when you punched it, it would go back and forth.
Like a... Yeah. So they think he has brain damage because he is speaking to them in a very strange way. He can speak to people normally, and he is giving off a very brain damagey vibe.
Yeah, so Rocky and Rocky 2, and this was a criticism that was brought up by Doug's co-host on the Rocky Minute show, and he ran with it a little bit, no offense to his co-host. He doesn't listen to our show anyway, so I don't really care, but Doug listens. But I will say that his co-host kind of ran with it a little bit too hard throughout the season, but that Rocky does seem a little bit more punchy in this. If you could rate the punchiness of the Rocky character, it'd be like Rocky 5 is the most punchy, then probably Rocky 2, and then Rocky 1, and then Rocky 6, then Rocky 3, then 4. If the levels of, or maybe 4.
Yeah, he's really got it dialed up.
Yeah, so ironically, Rockies 3 and 4, Rocky is incredibly smart, intelligent, and well-spoken, but then the other films around Rockies 3 and 4 seem to be punchy. Then back to the Creed films, he's really just a normal guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Rocky 2, he does seem a little bit extra punchy.
He does have it dialed up to 10 or 9 here. Is he supposed to be playing like he legit does have a little something's wrong with him or not?
Well, they've mentioned it twice already in the movie, brain damage. The reporters, do you think you have brain damage? Now the commercial guy, the guy's got brain damage, so it's been brought up. The injury to his brain is to his head. And then it's brought up during the commercials, I'm a puncher, I just talk this way or whatever. So there's something going on here with Sly's acting and with the writing that there's some sort of indication that maybe Rocky has some rocks loose in his head. Excuse the pun.
It's great being out of the hospital and not having to take all those pills and everything, and my legs were getting so sore and all that, you know. Just laying there.
It indicates here that he was there for a little bit. You know, he was bedridden. His legs were, what do you call it when you don't use your muscles? What's this called again?
Atrophying.
Thank you. So his legs weren't, you know, they were aching because they weren't using them. He was lying in bed all day. So it's great to be outside, to walk around. He was taking pills. Pills are the best part of the hospital, Rocky. What are you talking about?
Indeed. For sure. This is a nice blast from the past in that you have it paused on. The style of earmuffs and scarf that Adrian is wearing, we legit had those like same exact ones as kids. Did you guys?
Oh, yeah. I had those earmuffs.
It harkens back to a simpler time for me.
Absolutely.
How far was the hospital from the zoo? Well, I mean, they don't have a car, I guess. They don't have a car. They could afford to get a cab, but I don't know. Maybe the hospital is close to the zoo. Walking around in the wintertime, that's rough.
So, yeah, Rocky has a decent amount of snow has gathered on his hat. Now, it's not even snowing that hard, so this would indicate that the light patter of snow has accumulated on Rocky's hat, which would indicate they've walked a fair distance, maybe a couple miles. Yeah, so like it's... But I love how this is where we are in the conversation. Has Rocky been talking about the hospital the whole way, or did he just go back to it now?
So they're entering the zoo. No one is there.
Yeah, there's nobody at the zoo. Yeah, is it closed? Is it open?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's weird. For those who are maybe listening to this podcast for the first time and didn't listen to my Going the Distance podcast that I did before this coverage of Rocky films, I had a guest host on, of course, Derek Wayne Johnson, who works closely with Sylvester Stallone on a lot of different documentaries. Just Google Derek Wayne Johnson. You'll see the episodes he's been on with me and also his projects that he's worked on. Great guy. Wonderful guy. I've never asked Derek for any favors except for one. The one favor I asked of Derek was, can you ask Stallone one question for me? I'll try to be quick with the story, but also at the same time, there might be someone who's never heard the story. Okay. So
it's a great story. I love it.
Can you ask him, why did Sly write Rocky proposing to Adrian at the zoo when, of course, like Louise pointed out in our chat, when in Rocky Part 1, or the first Rocky film, Goslow's driver / bodyguard tells Rocky, take Adrian to the zoo because I hear retards like the zoo. That was the quote from the film. Now we see Rocky taking Adrian to the zoo, literally. And not only just taking her to the zoo, but going to ask her the most important question of her life at the zoo. And Sly's response, ladies and gentlemen, to this question was, he totally forgot about that, and they just like the aesthetics of the zoo.
Which I do think this aesthetic is beautiful. The snow, and it's fresh snow and it's quiet, and the fact that no one's there. Now, granted, if you were to really go to the zoo to propose, what a nightmare. I would hate that for so many reasons. I would hate that. Crowds of people would be there. But the fact that it's quiet and it's the snow, it is a beautiful setting. But come on. I just do not buy that no one was like, hey man, remember last movie? Either people were afraid to bring it up or they did. And he was like, I don't care. I want to do it anyway.
Very reasonable assumption. Like I hear you. Sly, I kind of believe him because he has no reason to lie to Derek because the one thing he did say to Derek was, and this is, again, take it for what it's worth, and I want to take a lot of the credit, but I want to have it kind of be true because Sly said to Derek, quote, I've never been asked that before. That's what he said to Derek.
Which is awesome. And I'm not like saying he's a liar. I just think sometimes you can create something in your head.
A narrative.
Or people didn't. Maybe they were kind of afraid to maybe somebody didn't bring it up, but I'm sure people thought of it and were like, oh, really? We're going to do this?
Don't forget, there wasn't like multiple viewings back then. Fans usually know more than the authors. You know, it's funny how fans...
That's true.
These movie people might not have they didn't care or they didn't watch it once 3 years previous or whatever it was. It was a movie 3 years ago. How many times did they watch Rocky? Did they really remember that insult by the driver? If you were to ask me after my first viewing, I bet you right now, like for example, well, my wife's seen the films once with me when we first got married, but I guarantee you if I asked her a year after seeing the films for the first time, hey honey, what did the driver say to Rocky about Adrian? What was the insult he threw his way?
Yeah.
She wouldn't remember. I guarantee it. So we're speaking as people who've seen these films multiple times over the years, but if you were to ask first-time viewers back in 79, would they all have remembered that insult? Did they watch this film over and over again?
Fair point. Or maybe it's that Rocky is just taking Buddy's advice here.
That's what we insinuated, and that's why I asked Derek to ask Sly, and Sly's response was...
joking.
Or you could just also argue not to belabor the point, I apologize to our listeners, but that maybe in Sly's brain, it was a subconscious thing. He consciously doesn't remember, but his subconscious this was written before. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. No, I think there was something in his brain about zoos and yeah.
But he said they liked the aesthetics, which makes sense because, like you said, it looks good, and they liked it. Yeah, and it was quiet. They liked that it was quiet, that they were by themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of shrinking.
He really liked the tiger.
It's great to be outside, you know?
We'll talk about that. Yeah. It's really great to be outside, you know?
What are we doing here at the zoo?
I kind of like this zoo a lot. You know, it's a special place, especially when it snows. You know, it kind of smells clean and everything like that, you know? Don't you like the zoo?
See, really, folks, don't you like the zoo? I hear you like this. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah.
It really drives home the point if you were to remember the first film, watching this scene. I wonder if there's people in the theaters who were big fans of the first film, and they're like, I can't believe he's taking her to the zoo. This is weird. It smells clean when it snows. I guess the snow pats down the manure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no zookeepers here to like clean it. There's literally no one around except a lone Bengal tiger. It's not even a Siberian tiger. This Bengal tiger is in the snow. I mean, come on, this poor thing. It's by himself. I imagine they put them indoors when these are like hot weather animals, not fit for snow.
79, Katie, it's 79. I don't know what to tell you.
I know, again, zoos are not awesome, people. Sanctuaries, go to a sanctuary instead. Say, come on, what do you expect from the vegan over here?
I know.
But the tiger, I dig tigers too. They're one of my favorite animals. Mm-hmm. And Sylvester buys a tiger jacket. I have the tiger. There's a tiger invited to the wedding. Tigers. He's into it.
All right. Don't you like the zoo, huh? I heard you like the zoo.
Huh?
I like the zoo.
Yeah, me too.
They're both the R word.
You know, I was wondering, what do you think you're doing for like the next 40 or 50 years?
What do you mean?
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind marrying me very much.
What'd you say?
There was a shot there of them looking at each other, and the tiger was right between them behind. It was a nice timing of the shot that the tiger was there between them. Of course, she goes, what did you say? Now, we know that she knows that she heard him, but she's, what are we doing here? Oh, really? Now, how long have they been dating?
Since like Thanksgiving. This is sometime in January, probably. So 3 months, 4 months, 4 months.
So
yeah.
3 months.
Their fight was in January. It was January 1st. He's been in the hospital. So 3 months max. I don't think that was super uncommon. There wasn't long engagements.
Becky and I, we were very shortly dating. We got married very quickly, and we've been together almost 13 years, so it can happen.
You know.
You know.
Is that when you know?
I think so. Or we're just both idiots and we lucked out. Who knows? A bit of both.
If you wouldn't mind marrying me too much.
So he lifts up her earmuff.
Love this so much.
If you wouldn't mind marrying me too much. Now, I love how he lifts up the earmuff to speak into her ear a little louder, which was one of two things. Obviously, she really heard him, but at the same time, let's just pretend that she hasn't heard him the whole walk. That's why she's been able to handle his inane conversations this whole walk, because she's been muted. She's muted Rocky the whole walk. Anyway. So yeah, it's very cute, and her face says it all. Like, wow, this is happening.
It is really cute. So he was planning to do this. They told each other they loved each other for the first time a few days ago, like a week ago, maybe, right?
It seemed like that was the first time they mentioned "I love you," right? They seem to be very passionate. This, "I love you," that was like a big moment for them. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, so this is like a big surprise, a big deal. And when he was laying there in the hospital is when he decided he was going to propose to her. Do you think? This is all very quick. It also is. Why waste time? They found each other. These two fill gaps, you know.
They do fill gaps. They'll be filling gaps on their wedding night. Which reminds me, I'm led to believe they haven't consummated their relationship yet.
We felt pretty strongly.
Oh yeah, they did. Now this is tough because, or they did it the one night. Did they go all the way that night, or was it just a makeout session? It's actually.
Oh, they did, but then they didn't anymore because he was training.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Sorry, you're right.
It's been a while.
She's busted and all this stuff. You're not a virgin anymore. I guess it wasn't like it was a nightly thing. Maybe it was literally the first night, but then they were like, let's pull back a little bit. And you're right. and now they're going to get married. You're right. Maybe they just haven't had a chance since then. That could just be it too.
They haven't, because he's been training and he's been in the hospital.
Right. We're going to have an honest Catholic wedding coming up, so they got to, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's right. She's busted. I keep forgetting that. I'm sorry. Louise is mad at me. Of course, she's busted. I should have known better. Okay. That's why she's wearing the red jacket. It's a scarlet color, right?
Mm-hmm. It looks good on all the white snow.
She's not pure like the snow. She's not pure like the driven snow anymore. She's got the red jacket to indicate that.
Yes. I'd like to marry you.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I'll be a good guy, I promise. I ain't gonna do nothing wrong. I ain't gonna leave no hair in the sink or nothing like that, you know?
So I'm not gonna leave any hair in the sink. Now, this is a real thing. I actually had a nice little 10-day growth on my face just yesterday, and I shave it, and it pops all over the place when the stubble comes flying off the razor, and I clean up the hair in the sink, too. I'm a good husband.
I also love the innocent / naive nature of Rocky, that he thinks that's like the biggest, like, that's what married people fight about, hair in the sink, and that's it. Everything else is just perfect.
That's right. No, I'm not gonna leave no hair in the sink. I ain't gonna do nothing wrong other than not retire 4 times.
Never be around for our kid.
I think it's gonna be great, you know that? Hey, we're getting married, you know? You wanna come? You can get out for the weekend. I'll send you an invitation, Mr. Tiger. That's fantastic, isn't it? Oh!
That Tarzan yell that Sly does is legit.
He must be proud of his ability in that way, because he does it a few times. Also a brilliant transition from that, and he does the fist in the air to the church. I just thought that was a really nice way of transitioning us to the wedding.
I wonder what the writing for that was. Did Sly say in the screenplay, Rocky pumps his fist in the air, that he's going to marry Adrian, at the same time the church bell will toll for the next... I wonder if that was written, or was that thought of during the editing process when they transitioned? And they're like, hey, wouldn't it be kind of cool to put the bell in?
Well, he's the director of this. I thought of it. There was a scene earlier, too, where they transitioned... I thought it was a really cool way of transitioning scenes, too. I can't remember exactly what it was, when he comes out of surgery and then all of a sudden he's laying in bed with Paulie. I'll have to pay attention the rest of them. But I'm now noticing, because you brought up at the last episode that this was his first time directing a Rocky movie. So I don't know. Maybe it was the director's choice.
I'll have Derek ask Sly that question.
Rocky Balboa, volete prendere Adriana Pennino qui presente per la vostra moglie?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
This is very cleverly shot here, because we don't know yet as viewers, it's coming up, who's in attendance at this wedding. Because the way it's shot, we see Gloria as the bridesmaid. Looks like Gazzo, I think, is behind Rocky's shoulder there. So, that's the wedding party, small wedding party, sure. But there could be hundreds of people back there, right? So right now we don't know who's in the crowd.
There's a thing with Catholic churches, but I grew up Catholic, and my childhood church that I grew up going to looked very much like this, very similar. And so I wonder if basically all Catholic churches kind of look like this. I don't know, but this looks very similar.
I would say yes. I mean, I think it's a beautiful building. Mm-hmm. I was raised in a different religion, and there was certainly a look to all the meeting houses. Like if you were to go to one of our meeting houses in Ontario or California, it would feel very similar to the one in British Columbia, Canada, right? So I think Catholicism or a Jewish synagogue or a Muslim synagogue, or temple, I'm sure it's the same idea. So they probably all have their own unique artwork or characteristics, but it's I'm in a Catholic church. It feels like a Catholic church. I think that would be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what Father Carmichael is saying here, but I love how Rocky's yeah, absolutely, yes. So I think it's do you take Adrian to be your wife? But it's just yeah, absolutely, yes. And Adrian, do you take Rocky, probably is what it is.
Volete prendere a Rocky Balboa qui presente per vostro marito?
I do.
It's also a specific choice. I know this Father Carmine speaks little English. I wonder if it was like a specific choice to have it in Italian.
And I said Carmichael. I meant Carmine. Thank you, Donald, correcting me on that. Carmine. Yeah. He never really speaks any real English, even though we see in part 5, the same actor / character plays him in part 5, where, you know, can you send a couple places for me and my friend Tommy here? Like, he says all these things. So I guess Father Carmine understands English, but only talks to you back in Italian. So you better, I don't know. It's weird.
Well, and if they do go to church, like we never see them go to church, but the mass, like he must say it in Italian. Yeah.
It could just be an old Italian mass. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it. It's pretty. Adriana Pennino. It's just prettier. I like it.
Prettier, yeah. I love how Rocky says thanks to her saying yes. Let's just go back. Thanks.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Adriana Pennino, volete prendere a Rocky Balboa, qui presente per vostro marito?
I do.
Thanks.
Io declaro che siete sposo e sposa.
Sposo o sposo. Husband or wife.
You may kiss the bride now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's speaking English there. Okay, duh, of course. He's, you know, you may kiss the bride now. So maybe it's a bit of
very little.
Or it could be ceremonial, speaking it's Italian, but now it's like, you know, now you can kiss the bride. Telling Rocky in English because maybe he doesn't really understand Italian, so who knows, right? So he's telling Rocky you can kiss the bride now.
Her dress is actually pretty. A lot of times I wouldn't have expected, I guess I'm surprised to see it pretty as it is, considering that we see in a little while, like it's a small ceremony and it's, you know, probably a week later, very little time has passed since they got engaged, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, who knows how many, it's been a month maybe a month since the proposal? Who knows? Let's say a month. So they've got a month to get a dress ready. And look at Gloria's face here. She looks pretty downtrodden. She's like, I can't believe Adrian's like, I was her boss at the pet shop, making her clean the cat cages, and now she's marrying a soon-to-be semi-millionaire celebrity. And look at her face there. Ugh, my life sucks.
Gloria being downtrodden? No way. She's probably thinking, I should have been nicer to Rocky. I could be in her shoes, but she was always mean to him.
That's right. He's showing Gloria right now that crime don't pay.
I gotta take this off.
She looks unhappy.
She also, oddly enough, isn't that old.
I think her age is the same as Talia Shire's in this film. Like I said, she is still alive. The actress that plays Gloria, I forget her name. And I looked her up, and she is on YouTube, and she recites her own poetry on YouTube. She seems a little nutty, which I like.
Oh, shocking. Okay. That's funny.
People are saying that bridesmaids are always unhappy, and Louis said that Gloria has lust in her eyes for Rocky. So yeah, I think there's definitely jealousy there.
Bridesmaids are not always unhappy.
Is that saying always the bridesmaid, never the bride? That's the reason why that saying exists, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a trope, but yeah, I see why they said that.
They're all nervous about kissing each other in front of people.
Vada in pace. Go in peace and God bless you.
Thanks, Father. You've done real good. I'm proud of you. Okay. Things are going to be great.
Thank you, Father. God bless. I'm proud of you. So Mickey's there. Goswell's there. Only Mickey's in the crowd. That is it. So it's a very clever way to shoot the shot that there's nobody in the audience. So it's literally just a cast of characters, which is, I guess, is interesting, but really they have nobody in their life. That's odd. So no parents are alive, no cousins. Rocky and Adrian, they're from the hood. They're from this area, and nobody can make the wedding.
Again, nobody has parents in Rocky movies. I think I'm kind of coming around to the idea that they purposefully just wanted, I mean, like you said, they're from the neighborhood. They could have had Frank in the audience, the singing street people.
Yeah.
It literally is just them, meaning that that's all who matters, really. This probably happened very quickly. There wasn't this whole, who are we going to invite, invitations, this, that, and the other. It's just, let's get married.
So yeah, you're right. Yeah. No parents. Adrian's parents are dead. Rocky's parents are dead. No cousins, no aunts or uncles. Mickey's only been friends with Rocky for 4 months, really. Like, he was calling him a GD ape just a few months ago, and a bum, and now he's at his wedding. Anyways.
Yeah, it was not rushed necessarily, but let's just get married and have just us.
Right, of course. Now Gloria's going to ask Rocky, hey, Rock, you want to buy into the pet shop? Yeah, come on, Gloria.
Rock, you want to buy into the pet shop?
Well, thanks, but I want to do commercials instead, you know?
Commercials? What for? Concussion?
Yeah, concussion.
Look at Gloria being sassy and everything, eh? What, for concussions? Again, the brain damage talk. This is like the third time there's been talk about his head being beaten to a pulp. So it's definitely written for that. Keep reminding the audience. His head's messed up a little bit.
He's proud of the priest for marrying them, which I thought was an interesting
He did good.
statement.
Yeah,
and,
he did good. Father
and then the photographer is also the priest, like a Polaroid camera. Here, we'll take a picture as they're walking away.
Exactly. This is the only photo taken of their wedding. So is this photo, this Polaroid photo of them walking away with Adrian's, her head is to the back of the camera? Is this what's hanging on their wall to commemorate their wedding day?
No, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that father something?
Isn't that father something? He took a picture of me as I was walking away. Adrian does not even look at the camera.
He is mesmerized by this priest. He thinks he has some, I don't know.
That's so funny. That was funny. He's mesmerized by this priest. Why is he so amazed that this priest can take pictures and do weddings?
I don't know. And while Adrian, her dress is actually really a beautiful dress. What is Gloria's dress? Like, is it just supposed to be a trope that bridesmaid dresses are hideous? Because that is hideous.
Is she Jewish too? Is that a Jewish type headdress on her? Is that what that is? Like a ceremonial type?
No, it's just like a hat.
Okay.
It's like a hat. Yeah, it's the men who wear them anyways.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the dusty rose, ugly frock, does nothing for her. She's like slouching. Yeah. Rocky's tux looks really nice. It's not that typical like fluffy 70s blue.
The bow tie's a little big though.
I think he looks really nice in his tux. Gaza looks good.
Father Carmine though, he is something.
He's sure.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Mick.
I gotta go back to the gym. I got a couple of good prospects.
Yeah, they're really good?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I gotta go back to the gym. These guys are waiting for me over there. I took 10 minutes out to see a wedding.
Like no one could be bothered. It's just Gloria's asking him to buy the pet shop. Mickey's got to go train. Ugh, this is satisfying.
Gaza's about to come in at him too. Yeah, and Mickey's even, I'm actually shocked he has a suit, but his tie's crooked. Like he could barely get himself together in a suit.
He's not wearing his snow cap in the church. It must be warm enough for him.
Yeah, it's a formal event, no hats. Then in some churches, I think, no, it's the ladies in some
Ladies
churches.
can wear
It's
hats,
like hats or like church lady hats. Yeah.
Coming.
We'll go drink now.
Good
Hey,
prospect.
excuse me, can I borrow the bridegroom for 1 minute?
You look beautiful, Adrian.
Yeah.
You look beautiful, Adrian. Yeah, she turned out pretty.
Turned out really pretty. Wow. Wow.
She really turned out pretty. Yeah.
Polly, did you catch Polly? Can we
Yeah.
go drink now?
Oh yeah. Polly's ready to go drink. Look at the background there. Polly's talking to Adrian. I would love to know what they're talking about in that sequence back there. Look, Polly and Adrian are talking. What's Polly saying to Adrian? Adrian, I know I said you was busted before marriage, but tonight's the proper busting, okay? If you need any tips about how to make love to your husband, just talk to me, okay?
Yeah, I don't know what they're just, he's proud of her. I don't know. Yeah.
Properly busted tonight. So Rocky says again, it's not showing the catch. He mentions again, good prospects. So he's really enamored by the good prospects idea that Mickey's working with. And I think there's a part of Rocky's already kind of like, I already kind of miss it. But Mickey's moved on to other good prospects. Yeah. I'm no longer a good prospect. Yeah. You look beautiful, Adrian. And then we see, again, here, listen to Rocky's response to that.
You look beautiful, Adrian.
Yeah, she really turned out pretty.
Now listen, how much money you made from the last fight? I mean, how much money did you clear?
About 37 grand.
So he cleared 37 grand, but how much was he offered again?
It was like 150. I'm pretty sure it was 150.
So what, the taxes are 65% in the States?
I don't know I don't really know what the story is with boxing. Like he had to pay probably after taxes and after he pays Cutman, Mickey, whoever else, I think is maybe, it would be probably about 50% taxes on something like this.
At least they always say 50% winnings. You always hear about that when someone wins the lotto, half of it goes to the government. But anyways, he's got 37 grand is what he's cleared. So maybe that's the absolute net. He's got 37 grand.
It's like $185,000, which, so let's just keep that in mind as we see the shopping.
Right.
Sure.
So taxes will kill you. But he's going to make another $300,000 on the commercial contract. But yeah.
That's true. Good point.
No, taxes kill you. What do you want to do with your money now? You want to put them on the street?
Hey, Tony, I just got married in here.
He goes, what do you want to do with your money right now? Tony says, he goes, do you want to put them on the street? He's basically asking, do you want to roll your money into some street deals? Maybe become part of the loan shark? He will loan out his money?
Yeah, that's exactly what he means.
I don't think I ever caught that till now, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I don't think I did either. Because I'm always like so jazzed about the upcoming funny statement, but I missed that.
Again, I wonder if anyone else caught that. Tony's legit asking, do you want to become a loan shark? You can lend that money out and make money back with interest.
Like through Tony. I don't think he's suggesting that Rocky be... No, I think he's just
Tony,
like,
you give me 20 grand, I'll handle your money, you get a cut.
Yeah.
And Rocky's like, look, man, I just got married in a church and you're talking about street crime. Like, relax.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm happy for you. How's about investing in condominiums? It's safe here.
Condominiums?
Yeah, condominiums.
I never use them.
Cue the laugh track. So, yeah, I never used them. It's a funny line, but are you that? Come on. Is he being funny or is he really serious? Like, I don't know anymore.
Well, his face is stone cold. I think he's being fully serious. Like, he is not dumb, but I don't know, maybe like condominium, the idea of it being an investment opportunity isn't something that has been ever spoken about before. I mean...
So he never uses them, which is actually a very Catholic thing. They're actually not allowed to use birth control.
Yeah, it's just funny. I forgot. Yeah, I mean, I just like forget. It's a thing.
But I love how he says, I never use them. So in his relationship with Adrian, because they only had one kid, I mean, I guess it was the old pull-out method, I guess.
It's one of those things that the Catholics and the birth control, I think it's one of those things that's like, yeah, it's a rule, but nobody follows it. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
True, but I believe Rocky, he really doesn't use them, right?
I don't think it's because of his religion. I think it's just doesn't use them. He just doesn't. It's old-timey. He doesn't use them, but now they're married, so quote-unquote they don't need to anymore.
But they only have one kid, so I would assume in their 40-plus years of marriage, it was, it's a bit of a gamble.
She probably put it on her because that's what usually happens.
Well, he put it on her, all right. Okay. All right. Well, that is the end of this episode. We are going to stop here because the next sequence, I believe, is the commercial, and we'll get to that. I think that's the next one. Let me just mute it. I'm just going to double check because I think it's... Oh, yeah. That's right. Carrying her home. And
yeah. I love it when they go home to butt kiss, too.
And then,
cute.
That's right. Okay. So the next sequence will be their properly busted evening together, and then their shopping spree. Okay. Well, that was another fun episode. We want to thank those who joined us in our Discord. We appreciate their input and their chat. I get corrected and set straight, which is nice because it beats people in the social comments on YouTube or on emails. When people correct me live, I actually appreciate that. It beats people saying, just so you know. I don't get those emails as often. So Donald's kind of my fact checker, so I appreciate that. Again, watch Tulsa King if you're not, and if you want to see Tulsa King on our Patreon and watch me respond to it, please do so. For as low as $1 a month, it helps pay for the last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network feed as well. Send us an email, but at the very least, if you can't even do all those things, just like our Facebook posts or Twitter posts, and it just helps the algorithm. Leave us a review. Yeah, we haven't got a review in so long. I know we have Apple listeners. Guys, please, those that listen on Apple, leave me a review. Tell us why we're so amazing. I mean, you're listening to us for a reason, right? So tell us why we're amazing. Again, it really does help the show. I know it sounds silly and cliche, but people will look at the star ratings. They'll look at the comments, like star ratings at the very least, even if you just give us a star rating, because people scroll past shows that don't have any star ratings because they're like, oh, this show sucks. Nobody listens. So it does help a little bit for new listeners to see, hey, this show has an audience. And we do have an audience, but Katie, anything else before we close?
No, sir.
Well, the episode is over.
I didn't hear no bell.
I just want to say one